Welcome back to our daily daytime drama channel. As someone who has been faithfully watching this beloved television masterpiece for well over 40 years, I can confidently say that the current storylines are some of the most gripping and emotionally complex narratives I have ever had the pleasure of witnessing. When you reach my age, you start to think you have seen every possible plot twist, every conceivable betrayal, and every miraculous resurrection that a daytime drama can throw at you. Yet, the writers continue to surprise me, pulling me to the edge of my seat with the ongoing saga surrounding Britt and Jason. I have always had a soft spot for deeply flawed characters who find redemption through love, and watching their relationship evolve has been an absolute joy. The sheer magnitude of the recent revelations has left me breathless, and I cannot help but analyze every single detail of what is unfolding before our eyes. Let us take a moment to deeply reflect on the agonizing journey Britt has been forced to endure regarding her health. For the longest time, we watched her grapple with the terrifying belief that she was suffering from a devastating genetic condition. The vulnerability she displayed while facing what she believed to be a guaranteed death sentence was incredibly moving. I remember watching her tearful moments, feeling my own heart ache for a young woman convinced her mind and body would soon betray her. Now, we have learned the staggering truth that she never actually had the disease at all. The medication she was meticulously taking, the very substance she thought was keeping her symptoms at bay, was nothing more than a simple saline solution. Can you even begin to imagine the profound psychological shock of discovering that your greatest, most paralyzing fear was an elaborate fabrication? This leads me to question the sheer cruelty of the individuals who orchestrated this massive deception. Why would anyone subject a person to such profound psychological torture? The answer, as we are slowly discovering, ties back to an incredibly intricate conspiracy designed to manipulate Britt and ensure her continued participation in that highly controversial cold fusion project. They needed her compliant, they needed her dependent, and they used her deepest fears to keep her exactly where they wanted her. In all my years of watching, I have seen many villains use blackmail and physical threats, but this level of medical and psychological manipulation is truly on another level of sinister. It makes my blood boil to think of the unnecessary tears she shed and the sleepless nights she endured, all for the sake of a scientific scheme. As if the medical deception was not enough to completely shatter her reality, Britt is also dealing with the catastrophic fallout concerning Cassius. We all know the complicated, tangled web surrounding the man who assumed the identity of Nathan. Discovering that Cassius is now presumed dead adds a heavy layer of grief and confusion to an already overwhelming situation. Britt is now forced to process the loss of someone who was deeply embedded in her life, while simultaneously reconciling with the fact that he completely usurped the life of Nathan. The emotional whiplash must be absolutely unbearable for her. I often sit in my living room sipping my tea and wonder how much more tragedy one person can possibly take before they completely break down. The pacing of these upcoming episodes is truly something to marvel at, and I am eagerly counting down the days until the episode airing on the 10th of July. According to the latest whispers and storyline hints, this specific date is going to be incredibly pivotal for Britt. She is slated to receive some monumental information that will undoubtedly shift the entire trajectory of her current predicament. Will this new information finally give her the leverage she needs against her manipulators? I strongly believe it will serve as the catalyst that propels her out of her despair and into action. The anticipation is palpable, and I can feel the excitement building within the fan community as we prepare for what promises to be a deeply emotional hour of television. But the surprises certainly do not stop there, my friends. The most thrilling piece of news is that Jason is finally going to be released from custody, with his highly anticipated reappearance scheduled to begin around the 13th of July. When I heard this, I literally cheered out loud. The thought of Jason being free and heading back to Port Charles brings such an immense sense of relief. I immediately thought of little Danny, who has been missing his father terribly. The joy that Danny will experience upon seeing Jason again is going to be a beautiful, tear-jerking moment that I am already preparing my tissues for. The entire town will undoubtedly feel the ripple effects of Jason returning to the fold, but no one will be more impacted than Britt. How exactly will Britt react when she receives the news that Jason is a free man and is currently making his way back home? On one hand, I am absolutely certain she will experience a profound wave of relief and gratitude. She loves him deeply and truly. We all remember that incredibly poignant moment before he was taken away by the authorities, where she bravely laid her heart on the line and confessed her love for him, and he reciprocated those feelings. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated romance that reminded me of the classic soap opera love stories from decades past. Knowing that the man she loves is no longer locked away will surely bring a brief moment of light into her currently dark world. However, that initial joy is going to be quickly overshadowed by a massive, suffocating cloud of guilt. Britt is currently carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, and she is acutely aware of the colossal mess she dragged Jason into. He risked everything for her. He put his freedom, his safety, and his life on the line to protect her and help her find the medication she desperately needed. And now she has to face the reality that his immense sacrifice was entirely based on a lie. How does one even begin to look the person they love in the eye and admit that the life or death crisis they fought through together was nothing but a cruel mirage? I can deeply empathize with her anxiety, as the fear of him abandoning her upon learning the truth must be paralyzing. When they finally come face to face, Britt is going to have to deliver a grueling two-part confession, and I am anxiously wondering how she will find the words. The first part of her heartfelt apology will naturally center around the fabricated illness. She will have to explain that the genetic disease she thought was slowly killing her never existed. Will Jason be furious with her for this? I have pondered this question extensively, and I firmly believe that the answer is no. Jason is incredibly perceptive, and he knows Britt better than almost anyone. He was right there beside her, witnessing her genuine terror and suffering. He knows she was a victim of this elaborate hoax just as much as he was. Jason has always been a protector at his core. When he sees someone he cares about in pain, his immediate instinct is to shield them and eliminate the threat. Therefore, I suspect his anger will not be directed at Britt, but rather at the shadowy figures who orchestrated this vile manipulation. He will likely be furious that she was subjected to such emotional torment, and his protective instincts will only intensify. He understands the mechanics of deception better than anyone, having lived in a world of danger and betrayal for his entire adult life. Because he was also fooled by the fake medication and the elaborate ruse, he will recognize that Britt was entirely innocent in this specific aspect of the tragedy. The second part of Britt's confession, however, is where the real danger to their relationship lies. She has to come clean about Cassius and the horrifying reality that he hijacked the life of Nathan. This is a significantly more complicated issue to navigate. Will Jason be able to overlook her role in keeping this a secret? This is a tough question to resolve, and I fear it will cause a significant rift between them. Jason values loyalty and honesty above all else. Finding out that the woman he loves was complicit in hiding the actions of a man who caused so much chaos and danger is going to be a very bitter pill for him to swallow. We must acknowledge that Cassius is a deeply complex figure. While it is true that he might not be the absolute irredeemable monster that the authorities are painting him out to be, he is certainly no saint. He is engaged in numerous shady activities and, most importantly, he has actively endangered people whom Jason cares about deeply. Jason operates on a very strict moral code when it comes to protecting his inner circle. If someone poses a threat to his loved ones, they are an enemy, plain and simple. Britt's decision to conceal the truth about Cassius, even if her motivations were rooted in fear or misplaced loyalty, directly conflicts with Jason's core values. This revelation has the potential to shatter the foundation of trust they have built. I can already vividly picture their inevitable reunion scene in my mind's eye. I imagine it taking place in a quiet, dimly lit room, the air thick with unspoken emotions and lingering trauma. Britt will likely be trembling, tears streaming down her face as she finally unburdens her soul. She will plead with him, her voice cracking with desperation, begging for his understanding and forgiveness. Jason, ever the stoic presence, will listen intensely, his jaw clenched as he processes the magnitude of her words. The tension will be absolutely electric, the kind of compelling television that makes you forget to breathe. Will he pull her into a comforting embrace? Or will he turn his back and walk away? The suspense is quite literally keeping me awake at night. As a side note, amidst all this heavy, heart-wrenching drama, it is always so wonderful to see the genuine camaraderie and joy that exists among the talented individuals who bring this show to life. Just recently, I was delighted to hear that Laura was absolutely raving about the fantastic guest appearance made by John. It is these little behind-the-scenes moments of mutual respect and appreciation that remind me why I have remained such a dedicated fan for all these decades. Seeing the actors genuinely enjoy their work and praise their colleagues adds an extra layer of warmth to the viewing experience, providing a lovely contrast to the intense, high-stakes drama unfolding on our screens. Despite the immense obstacles standing in their way, I remain incredibly optimistic about their future together. If Britt and Jason can somehow navigate through this incredibly dark and complicated chapter, if they can find a way to forgive the deceptions and heal from the trauma, they have the potential to emerge stronger than ever before. I firmly believe they are destined to become the town's newest, most formidable power couple. They have both been through hell and back, and they share a unique understanding of the darker sides of life. Together, they could be an unstoppable force, fiercely protecting each other against any threat that comes their way. The journey to get there will be fraught with tears and heartache, but the destination will be well worth the struggle. As we rapidly approach these highly anticipated mid-July episodes, my heart is absolutely full of hope and trepidation. The saga of Britt, Jason, the fake illness, and the tragic legacy of Cassius and Nathan is a masterclass in daytime storytelling. I will be watching every single moment with bated breath, analyzing every glance and every spoken word. Will love conquer the ultimate betrayal? Will Jason find it in his heart to forgive the woman who inadvertently turned his life upside down? I invite all of you to join me in watching this spectacular drama unfold. Keep your tissues handy, my fellow fans, because I have a strong feeling that we are about to witness some of the most memorable and emotionally devastating scenes in the history of our beloved show.